Hi, I'm Metsu from Chocolate Soul Traders and Chocolatier. We're a Toronto-based company based out of downtown Toronto. We're young in St. Joseph, and we make Mexican stone ground dark chocolate from the cacao bean. It's a very low-processed dark chocolate inspired by the tradition of chocolate and the chocolato from the people that we actually import the cacao from. So as our business unfolds, we've been working with around 25 indigenous communities in southern Mexico. Trading directly with the farmers, setting up organic networks of trade, horizontal trading networks we call them, in southern Mexico, and then bringing it up to southern Ontario and exchanging it and turning it into fine chocolate and exchanging it in our horizontal trading networks here in Toronto. So our business is a social enterprise learning community. Really started as a learning community before the actual business, the social enterprise, came to be. The learning community being a group of willing workers and volunteers and youth generally who want to move ideas forward and want to move a project forward together. And the vehicle that we chose to do that was cacao and chocolate because we had such a positive experience in southern Mexico. The second you show somebody the cacao pod, you know, they're at a loss. They don't know how to identify it. They don't know what it is, and they wouldn't be able to identify where chocolate comes from, nor the people that grow it. So chocolate, really fundamentally, we're trying to reconnect people with a traditional food, a cultural food, and the people who surround it, including ourselves. We're part of the horizontal trading network. My friend over here who's doing the videography is doing part of that horizontal trading network. The customers who come to our farmers markets and share and dialogue with us as part of the horizontal trading network. So it's very easy to partake in grassroots research and something that is positive, something that is moving ideas forward. So another really interesting element to Chocolate Soul is that we're a pedal-powered company, which means all transportation is done in the downtown core via e-bicycle. And we also design technologies that are pedal-powered. We're now building a new kitchen at DuPont and Dufferin here in Toronto, which is going to be an off-grid example to be replicated in a shipping container. So just picture a small chocolate factory that fits inside a shipping container, and that can be sent to Mexico. It can be sent to any other producer of cacao. They can empty it out, have a chocolate factory, and fill it back up with cacao and coffee and vanilla and corn, send it back to us, and it becomes a full circle of trade. So not only just shipping from somewhere, from southern Mexico, and drawing on their resources, but it's really a horizontal trading. There's bridging of the communities.
I'm a crusty old organic farmer that's been doing this too long.
That's awesome.
21 years, I think now that I've been an organic grower. I was certified for 16 years. I haven't been certified for the last 5. The last few years we've established quite a few new markets here in the city, cross-the-counter markets, so I don't really need the certification anymore. It's been a fun ride. Personally, I've run into some problems with fertility on the farm. It's been overused, to put it bluntly. So I'm not quite sure what the future holds with regards to my personal farm and what's going to transpire. And of course, we've had lousy spring. And weather conditions haven't been in our favor. And this is a business, a gambling proposition at best. You're never quite sure of anything.
No, if you had more support, not only from more people buying from you, but also on a larger scale, do you think that would change? Also, support from government and the proper officials and better policies. Would that make things better?
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, as far as I remember, I'm a 4th generation vegetable farmer. Maybe the first generation the first 2 were organic. The first one was organic last. The middle 2 weren't. But yes,
go ahead, man.
250. As long as I can remember, there's never been any support forthcoming for vegetable farmers. We're allowed to use plastic mulch, which gives you extra heat units, and weed protection, and greater yields and whatnot. But we're allowed to use that. And what do you do with the stuff? I mean, we got mounds of plastic in southern Ontario here.
That's true.
You take a drive down Simcoe Way, Brantford Way, down to Lake Erie. I would say almost half the vegetable acreage is under plastic.
Okay.
What do they do with that? It's not recycled. It's dirty. It's got holes in it. It might be a tiny percentage of it recycled, so it's either buried or burned. In most cases, it's buried. Consume or pushed back in the middle of concessions.
Right.
How is that acceptable as an organic standard? Whereas, say, if you use a mild form of nitrogen fertilizer, which is incorporated real quickly into the soil, and everybody worries about runoff. But most farmers are pretty good. It's the liquid runoff, on the mega farm runoff that we have to worry about. But most
that's right.
smaller farms or any farmer worth his salt wants to incorporate whatever fertilizer he's using immediately into the soil. They want to lose it. That's not really a runoff issue on a smaller scale. But so I always argue, well, we need a little bit of nitrogen periodically for our fertility. You allow plastic, but you won't allow nitrate of soda. Yeah, I think that's.
They actually had a homeless man who had been a baker, who was a regular of the mission. He started making bread, and that's what gave Father Roberto the idea to start all of this. They had this guy who was out of a job, but he had to make bread. He needed to do something. So apparently they went around in a shopping cart selling this man's thing. I like the fact that we'll hire people that other people don't hire. Like myself, I came back to Canada after years abroad last year with no Canadian references and no means of support or anything here in Canada. And they accepted my European references and says, well, give your chance. I had the other thing that we really do is that people who can't work elsewhere can work with us. I've got a girl who's wonderful in the pastry department, but she has physical disability. She can work for me 2 hours, but she can't stand for a long period of time. Nobody else is going to hire her. But she works with me, and she's so wonderful. But she can work for us. She can't work somewhere else because other people don't have the flexibility we have.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's why, that's what they call it, social enterprise.
Yes.
So we're not out to make a profit. We're hoping to meet a bottom line, so that we can just keep on doing what we do. The mission, we feed people, we have meals 4 days a week, and anybody can come, it's entirely free. We feed probably between 50 and 80 people there on a daily basis. Lots of people, a huge amount of people volunteer for us, mostly people with physical issues, people with mental health issues who can't hold down a regular job. Without them, I would never be able to get lunch ready every day, because I'm one person. But again, the people who can't hold down full-time jobs. And it's a wonderful product. I don't have to sell this product. I love what we do, and it shows in the product. It's great. Last of the olive, yes.
My name is Nicole Cotton, and I'm from Best Spa Farm as well as dairy. So I'm married into a second generation farming family, and I'm actually from the city, and I met my husband at the St. Lawrence Market. So moving from the city to the farm has been an extraordinary experience, and I have learned quite a bit about our food industry and all the terrible things that are happening through it, basically. But anyways, we have our own breed of British milk sheep, and we don't milk them right now. We're taking a little breather, but we do sell our breeding stock to our neighbors, and we buy the milk back. And we do still live on our farms, and we grow our own feedlings in that farm. And we take the milk and we make it into any kind of dairy product that we can imagine. And we cater to mostly to people who are sensitive to food. People need food to live, and they need good quality food to live, have a quality life, and possibly have a long life. And in order to have that quality food, you have to be willing to pay for it. And I see this contradiction between how much we're willing to pay for a new phone every 6 months, or a giant TV, or a new technology comes out, or just new clothes. But when it comes to food that's going to keep you alive, people can be very reserved and resentful even. And what they don't understand is that it's a person who's making a living to create that food. And if it's good food, and you want them to make a good living, then it's just the transfer has to be there. We glorify people for making money off of sweatshops in China. But here in Canada, we have these people who, like my family, we work 7 days a week. At Christmas, you have to feed the sheep. They don't care that it's Christmas.
It certainly would be beneficial if we had some support, especially in times of peril or times of difficulty. And of course, I think everyone's aware that a lot of these small family farms are disappearing because of many factors. First and foremost, food's still pretty inexpensive in comparison to anything else, and all the price factors outside the input factors. Extremely extensive. It's forced. I'm 61 years old, and in our area, I'm probably as young as anybody. There are very few family farms being taken over by their kids. Right. The kids see no hope.
Yeah,
which is true.
Yes, it's a shame.
When I was younger, I grew up in Burlington, which was a magnificent farming community right at the end of Lake Ontario. All beautiful vegetable farms, fruit farms. We had 30 acres, supported 3 families and various employees on 30 acres. Couldn't happen now. Right. Impossibility. But at that time, we had integrated communities. We had 2 processing facilities, canning companies, basket factory, jam factory, small independent trucking companies, all working with the agricultural community.
Right.
Terrific dance hall down the street for all the farmers to get their culture.
Get their groove on.
It worked. And it was a community that worked. It's all developed.
Yeah. And what is it now?
It's all houses, condos. Are actually our family farm. That goes back to 1889.
Yep.
Is a mall.
A mall.
In the mid-30s, it all started back in the 30s when they built the QEW highway from Buffalo to Toronto. Rather than build it on the badlands on top of the escarpments that Highway 20 is, they put it through the heart, pierced the heart of the tender fruit lands, the vegetable lands. So it came through the middle of our farm, split our family farm in half. Of course, the government said expropriate your land.
Come to the farmers market and buy your veg from Farmer Ted. Buy your veg from all the wonderful farmers that need our support right now. It's a tough place to be as a farmer in Ontario right now. There's a mega quarry going up in prime farmland in Ontario. It's been a really weird season as far as the weather, a lot of rain. So come out, support your local farmers, support your organic farmers, support your LFP farmers who are doing the sustainable decisions with their agricultural practice, and vote with your dollars. It has to be something that's viable. So we need the support. We need people to come out to the farmers market and support the agricultural systems we have here in Ontario, because it's important for the security of our next generation. And if we want to have a Ontario produce and food, and I think everybody wants that. I think it's something that is an evident thing that we should be growing our own food.
Even if it's conventional crop farmers, they can work really hard for an entire season and still lose tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So how many people are willing to work really, really hard and still be in the hole?
That's right.
And they just keep trying. They have this faith that the system's going to change, or that. And they want to stay on their land, so they're attached to the lifestyle, and understandably.
Yep.
But you can only go a few seasons of being in the hole that much, and then you fall.
You're done.
Big corporations are counting on it.
So we're trying. Okay. I'll let you know. Okay. Good luck. This farm is great. All the food is organic, and that represents an optimistic future for us. Because once all the seeds that are destroyed by preservatives and chemical processes, they're going to have to turn to organic seeds again to get fresh, unpolluted seeds. And this is a place to find them right here at the organic markets all over the place. Bye. Have a happy day.